Okay, hello Cloud Gurus and welcome to this lecture. In this lecture we're going to look at Elastic Beanstalk. Now this is a very quick lecture. You will get some Elastic Beanstalk questions in your exam, usually only be one or two, and you more or less just need to know what it is and how it's different from CloudFormation. In CloudFormation, as we saw in the last lecture, it's very scripted, it's all using JSON, you can create massive templates and deploy resources at scale, but it's really used for advanced AWS users. Elastic Beanstalk is aimed at developers who have no idea about AWS, who just basically want to go in and provision a WordPress site or provision a Joomla website or something like that. And they don't want to have to go and learn CloudFormation. They all want to do it at a click of a button. And that's all Elastic Beanstalk is. And really for the exam, you just need to understand what it is at a high level and that you can do things like auto-scaling groups, and you can do things like growing your Elastic Beanstalk automatically to respond to demand. We'll have a look at that in a second. So this is a lab, and you will need to log into the AWS console.
Okay, so here I am in the AWS console, and you'll be able to find Elastic Beanstalk under Compute. And actually, a popular exam question can be name all the compute services or select all the compute services. So Elastic Beanstalk is one, EC2 is one. Those are the two we've mostly covered off. Lambda is a serverless compute service. So just know these at a high level. So let's go into Elastic Beanstalk. And if you've never used Elastic Beanstalk before, you're going to get a splash screen like this. Go ahead and hit Get Started. In here, we're going to give our application a name. I'm just going to call it Hello Cloud Gurus. And in here, we choose our platform. So we can have a pre-configured platform such as PHP. And PHP and MySQL is what we're using when we installed WordPress. And we can use a sample application or we can upload our own code. I'm just going to use a sample application and go ahead and hit Create Application. So there's now in creating my environment. It's going to take a few minutes, so I'm just going to pause the video and wait for this environment to come back up. And you can see as we go through here, it's created a security group. It's using Elastic Beanstalk. It's created an S3 storage bucket for the environment data. So it is going through and provisioning AWS resources. It's all completely automated, so you don't have to worry about anything. You literally, with Elastic Beanstalk, upload your code and away you go. So I'm just going to wait for this to come up online. Okay, so my environment has now been deployed. So we've got down here all our recent events. We can actually go and have a look at our environment just by clicking in here. It's going to have a URL, and there you go. Congratulations, your AWS Elastic Beanstalk PHP application is now running on your own dedicated environment in the AWS cloud. And it also tells us what PHP version we're running. So I'm back in the Elastic Beanstalk console. I can go in here and change my configuration. So we can go and modify our instance types. We can add load balancers in here. We can do a whole bunch of different things, change our capacity from being a single instance to multi-AZ instances, etc. So the thing, Elastic Beanstalk will come up an awful lot in the Certified SysOps Administrator Associate exam, as well as the Certified DevOps Professional exam. It won't really come up too heavily in the Certified Solutions Architect Associate exam, other than knowing what it is and the fact that you can configure it to have capacity provisioning. So you don't just need a single EC2 instance, you can use auto-scaling with Elastic Beanstalk. And Elastic Beanstalk is essentially just a way of deploying applications to the cloud. You don't need to know anything about AWS. You can literally just go in, upload your code, and Elastic Beanstalk will inspect the code and say, okay, I need to provision a PHP environment for this. So that's all it is. So to delete this environment, we just go over to Services, just click on Elastic Beanstalk again, and then just go up to Actions and go to Delete Application, and that will delete all the security groups, all the S3 buckets, the EC2 instances, etc., etc. So feel free to delete that application. So what are my exam tips? Well, just remember what Elastic Beanstalk is. So with Elastic Beanstalk, you can quickly deploy and manage applications in the AWS cloud. You don't have to worry about the infrastructure that runs those applications. So like we just saw, we didn't have to worry about provisioning a EC2 instance. We didn't have to worry about going in and installing PHP. We didn't have to worry about security groups or S3 buckets or anything like that. Literally all we had to worry about is uploading our application, and Elastic Beanstalk Beanstalk will automatically handle the details of capacity provisioning, load balancing, scaling, application health monitoring, etc. So just remember what Elastic Beanstalk is. Essentially, it will grow out your infrastructure. Think of it just like a beanstalk. It'll grow out your infrastructure underneath you, and all you give Elastic Beanstalk is some code, and then it will provision the infrastructure underneath you, similar to the way a beanstalk grows very, very quickly, and that's where it gets its name.
So that's it for this lecture, everyone. Hopefully you've learnt an awful lot about highly available architectures in the cloud. In the next lecture, we're just going to summarize everything that we've learnt, and then we're free to move on. So if you've got the time, please join me in the next lecture. Thank you.